Hey everybody, welcome back to the season 2 premiere of the Founders Podcast on ScionEsports.com, Scion Esports Twitch, Scion Esports Twitter, Scion Esports YouTube. We are here with 3 of the 4 founders of Scion Esports. I'm Corey, known as also in Discord Partisan Horse.
Oh, are you pointing at me? I'm Dustin, also known as Grizzlettoe.
And
I'm Eric, and Face Tank on WoW or ETAR 419 on basically everything else.
Yep, and Jeremy is still inactive in this party currently. So we have a few things to talk about tonight. Most important thing about our podcast tonight is just like we're restarting the podcast. For those of y'all that don't know, if you're watching and listening with us last year, we took some time off because we had a family medical situation that we were wanting to make sure that we weren't missing some important quality family time, but that's resolved pretty well. Everything's fine. So we're back to doing this. We talked about doing it a little bit differently, just to kind of meet our schedules more appropriately. We're going to probably shift to like more an hour and a half or 2 hours instead of trying to keep it to an hour.
The Jazz Odyssey version of a podcast.
Yeah. And that way we're not going to try to keep it tight in an hour, but we'll go an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours even if we want to, if we're really having fun. And
I doubt we'll be having that much fun because it's already 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
so.
But point being, we're gonna just kind of let it flow, and then we're gonna do it once a month, just for our schedule. So if you guys are joining us tonight, we'll see you back in a month. It's gonna be fun, but we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. Maybe we don't know. We're gonna see. We have a few things on our agenda to talk about. The first and foremost, biggest thing on our agenda to talk about tonight is the decathlon. Right?
Yes.
So, which is kind of Dustin's baby, you know? Dustin's kind of been the leading force.
Yeah, it's definitely taken on a different life from whenever I initially conceptualized it a few years ago. I wanted to do, it initially started as being the Scion Invitational was my original idea, and that was whenever we were doing like 3 or 4 different kind of fairly big tournaments a year. It's like, oh, well, what if we invited all the winners of those tournaments, and then from like the last 3 years, then we'd have like 12 champions and then invite them to just an invitational. You have to win something to come to the invitational, and then we make you play all these games. It's like, there's so many people that aren't going to want to do that. It's
right.
Like, you're not going to get just the dude that won Tekken isn't going to want to come and play Rocket League, probably. And so then it's sort of slowly morphed into like, well, what if you just had a team like the Olympics? And so then at this Cypher kind of sat down with a couple people and was just sort of pitching the idea out, and it sort of formed into what is now the decathlon.
So let's take the why and the what and the theory crafting behind what we came up with, what we're trying to accomplish, and let's set that aside for a minute, and let's just try to hit kind of a bullet point list of the facts about what we're doing so far, because there's a lot of questions. We've kind of intentionally rolled this out kind of in a vague manner. Some people were like, "Oh, why are you announcing something when you don't have anything to announce?" And it's like, it's hype building, guys. You know, it's like we're rolling out the information as we develop it.
Yeah,
and also,
we might live in the wrong era for hype building, though. I mean, like, we like teaser videos because that's what you got. You like a year before, you got like just a title, and then the next announcement 6 months after. But like, people don't like that anymore.
Yeah.
We have maybe done this wrong, but it was only over a month, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so the concept, and I'll kind of lay out a little bit about the concept, and then y'all can kind of chime in and add to it or subtract from it or tell me I'm wrong or whatever. But what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to get as many people involved in as much esports as possible. We're doing that by trying to diversify the mix of types of events we do, from just 1 or 2 live events per year, big high stakes events, to include more smaller kind of community run events and even a lot of online tournaments. So we're starting that out just in like a couple of weeks, right?
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks, we're going to have our first round of community tournaments. And the way the decathlon works is you register a team of up to 10 people as a decathlon team. And you want to have generally a diverse representation of what types of games you play, what you're good at. And you generally want to be a group of like 10 buddies or, you know, a few couples or whatever that are a team that is going to spend the whole year participating in different events, scoring points for your decathlon team. And that can be in online tournaments. It can be in an online Smash tournament. It can be in an in-person Rocket League tournament. It can be in a vast variety of tournaments that we're going to partner with other community organizers that are organizing tournaments. And each appearance that you make in a decathlon event is going to score your decathlon team points towards the ongoing season records of the decathlon. So if you win first place in a Smash tournament, maybe that Smash tournament has a prize of $100 or whatever, and you win $100, but you also can win points for your decathlon team. And so those points will accumulate over the course of the year. And at the end of about a year of competition, the top 10 decathlon teams are going to come to a summit at which we are going to select the games that are going to be included in next year's Cyphicon Live super high production value, high stakes, high reward tournament series. And it's going to be 10 events, 10 teams, all live at Cyphicon, and those are going to be selected by the top 10 finishing teams in the decathlon. That's
So
pretty much right.
conveniently, I just did the math. It is actually 10 months as well.
10 months, 10 teams, 10 players, 10 games at Cyphicon. It's all you can get why we call it a decathlon.
Yeah,
right?
that was just coincidence.
Is
basically.
10 the number of players you can have at most? Is it the maximum
that's
or the
the max.
minimum or both or neither?
10
It
is
is
the
the
maximum.
What's the
number
minimum?
Yeah.
I would assume 6. I wouldn't have a team less than 6 because
You
you're
don't have to
going to
assume
want.
because like we're the founders.
Yeah. So
But we're not running all of the games. The largest game that I know of that you can do teams on is 6. So if somebody out there was to run a game with more than that, I would be baffled.
So do you have to have at least 6 players to have a team? To
You-
register your team, you have to have at least 6 players.
you don't, but you would be at a severe disadvantage
Right.
because you couldn't participate in any games that required that many players.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you have 5 players on your decathlon team,
Now,
you can play Rocket League, you can play Halo, you can play all the single-player games, Smash, Tekken, you can play Mario Kart, you can play, did I say Halo, Call of Duty, things
Yeah.
that have 4 players. You can play, is Marvel Rivals 5 or 6? Overwatch
think
is
it's
5.
5.
So you can play Overwatch. You can't play Marvel
Right.
Rivals. You would eliminate yourself from that. And so
well, you could just play with a disadvantage.
it would be a very big disadvantage.
Look, we have been stomped. Whenever Overwatch was 6v6, we have been stomped with the other team having a lever.
Having
I'm
a
just-
lever and you still lose?
Yes.
Yeah. So
So-
there is technically no minimum, but you really need at least 6 players if you're going to participate in all of the events.
Right.
But all of the events is an important word because one of the things about the decathlon is you don't have to participate in all the events.
Right. You just pick and choose. And that's why there are participation points. We're trying to incentivize everybody to come out and participate in as many events as are convenient to help grow the community, because it doesn't really do the community any favors to have this super awesome event that 10 people show up to this one or 5 people show up to that one. If everybody wants to go and do everything, then the whole community grows.
Yeah. So we've created a point system that kind of equally reflects participation, but it's not just a participation trophy. You don't just show up at everything and win. It rewards participation, and it also rewards quality finishes in that tournament.
Right.
So if you finish first or second in a Smash tournament that has 1,000 players in it, that's going to be worth more than just you've never played Tekken in your life and you show up to a Tekken tournament, put your name on the list, and just finish last. You're still going to get some points for that,
Right.
but you're not going to get as many points as you get for a quality finish.
If somebody wants to see that point system, can they see that right now?
It's not public yet, but it will be very shortly. Yeah, we have to. The 3 of us have to do kind of the final vote to confirm it all, because there's a lot of balancing that goes into it. We're also taking into account the games that it's more difficult to field a team in, and also to organize a tournament for. Those events are worth more points. So if Marvel Rivals is kind of the big game, big team game right now, takes 6 players to field a team. It's maybe if it has a lower kind of barrier to entry than like League of Legends, where League of Legends takes 5 players, but it's a pretty complex cerebral
Right.
game. Those are going to be weighted more heavily than a real simplistic game like Rocket League or even Halo, where it's like you pick up a controller and you pretty much know what to do. Those team games are going to be weighted more than individual games because it takes more effort to put together a team. But the most complex, most investment team games are going to be worth the most.
So I think we did, the last time we looked at it, we had tried to weight it to where if you went to, forget exactly what the example was, but basically a first place finish in Overwatch or Rivals, whatever game we chose, a big team game, is worth slightly more points than an equivalent number of first place finishes in, say, Smash or something. So you're really rewarded for doing well in those events because it's going to take up a lot more investment of your time.
Yeah. And also we're weighting the points based on if it's a live event or an online event. Live events, because they take more effort to set up, it takes more community involvement to put the event on, and because it takes more effort to get your team together and physically go play in a tournament, those are worth more than an online tournament. But again, you can play in a lot of online tournaments and get a lot of points that way.
Right.
I'm gonna monitor the Twitch chat. I'm not just playing on my phone.
Yeah.
Just for reference.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. If you're watching, you can ask us questions in Discord.
Yeah. If there's anybody watching, you can ask questions in Discord, and we'll see it on our screen here. Or if you want to ask questions in the Twitch chat, I have it on my phone. So.
Yeah. So we were talking about the balancing of the points. We're taking into consideration the complexity and difficulty of organizing a team or organizing an entry into that. We're taking into account whether it's live or whether it's online. The live events are worth more than the online events. We're also taking into account whether it's an exclusive, a decathlon exclusive, or whether it's an open tournament, this is kind of interesting. We're awarding more points to an open tournament for winning or for placing higher, because if the competition is open to anyone, whether they're on a decathlon team or not, theoretically that would be a higher proof of your skill if you win one of those tournaments.
Right. Like our community always talks about, we have the number one so-and-so player in the world.
It's always
at this
the number
tournament.
two.
It's usually the number
Is it
two.
always
number two
number
Smash
two?
player and whatever, yeah.
That's what the
But-
Smash players
yeah.
always say. It's the
But-
number
so that's
two.
all rated somewhere, and obviously those players can't come to a LAN event all the time. So if they can play online at an open tournament, then yes, it's worth more. It's bigger bragging rights.
But we're
win
also
those.
going to have some decathlon exclusive tournaments that would be, theoretically, they might be worth a little bit less points because it's not as definitive proof of your skill, but it might be easier and more fun to go be competitive in those events, because to be in those decathlon exclusive events, you have to be on a decathlon team.
Right.
So in other words, the second best Smash player in the world, if he's not on a decathlon team, he can't play in an exclusive event.
Right.
So we were trying to really, there's a lot of balance that we're trying to accomplish. And one of those balances is a balance between really, really sweaty, try hard, super hardcore performance and a more casual interest in just going and having fun in competition. We're trying to balance those things as well. So what are we leaving out? What important factors are we leaving out?
Well, another logistical issues for hardware. If somebody is to run a retro tournament or something, we're taking that into account for balancing things. Games that are inherently harder to run, like if Sam Hayes wanted to haul out all his arcade cabinets and have an arcade night and run a Mortal Kombat tournament on arcade cabs, that tournament would be worth more points because logistically that's just a lot harder to do.
Yeah. So let's talk about the logistics of getting your team together, getting your team registered, because the month of May was kind of what we promoted as, this is when you find out about the decathlon. This is when you get your team registered. We have a few teams signed up. We don't have, we can accommodate, I guess, an infinity number of teams. We really want to get at least 10, obviously. But if you have not signed up yet, or you're unfamiliar with this, or you're learning about it first right now, here's the concept. Get together a group of your friends, anybody that plays any games together.
And you don't have to have your whole team right now. You can register people late.
Right.
They just join a team. Your team is accumulating points. So if you're just one dude right now, then you're like, I could make some friends, maybe. That's the boat I'm in. Maybe I could make some friends.
So if you go ahead and register a team, if you know you want to try to do this, go ahead and register a team, even if it's only just you or you and one friend. As soon as the first one-player event is, if you're registered, you can go play and start scoring points for your decathlon team. We're also trying to create an infrastructure where if you find out about the decathlon at a decathlon event and you go sign up right then, we're going to kind of reserve those points. So once you get your team registered, then you can have already earned those points. You can join the decathlon at any point between now and CypherCon 2026. Obviously, the later we get into it, the further behind you'll be on points, because the teams that sign up early are the teams that can participate in the first events. And so the way to start scoring points early is to get signed up early.
Right. You just have, it's not that you can't still win if you sign up late. It's just you have to be much, much better because you have to take a lot more first place finishes if that's the case.
Yeah, and you have to participate. You have to scrunch your participation.
You kind of have to go out of your way to participate in all the events possibly, if that's the case, if you want to play catch up. Another thing to talk about is if you drop out of a team I don't remember what our definitive ruling on that was. If you drop out of a team, you can't just join another team, right?
Yeah, you can't just join another team. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build community, camaraderie. So what we're trying, and again, we're trying to focus on kind of the enjoyment of the team building nature, and not just necessarily the best player getting on your team. So we're trying to encourage people joining up and getting full teams, but we're trying to discourage hopping back and forth from team to team, and we're trying to make it to where you get together with a team, build relationships with that team throughout the season. So if you get on a team and then you get off of a team, then you have to just create a brand new team. You can't get on a team and then get off and join another
Right,
team.
go ship hop to the best team.
Yeah, if
just 'cause
somebody
you
says,
happen to
"Hey,
be the
you're a really
best.
good, Tekken player. We want you to join our team. Leave that scrub team you're on and come join ours." We're trying to discourage that because we want.
So
fun
Arrow did
camaraderie.
have a one of our TOs, Arrow. He did have a good suggestion that you have like a sanctioned trading period. So we might do that maybe
Trade deadline like in baseball.
halfway through the season or something. That's still up for grabs at this point. It won't be early in the season if we do it, so it's sort of irrelevant at this exact moment.
Prizes, entry fees, decathlon, totally free. You don't have to pay to be in the decathlon. There's almost no reason not to. Like if you play in esports in Lake Charles, there's no reason not to be in a decathlon team. The individual tournaments that you play in, if they are decathlon eligible tournaments, they still may have their own entry fees. They'll have their own, pots for prizes. So you might can go win $50 or $100, but the decathlon points are separate. You don't pay anything to be in the decathlon, but there are no prizes awarded. There's just decathlon points that are going into the total decathlon season. Also, there's a couple different types of events. There's what we call first party events, which is Lake Charles Toyota Scion Esports is putting this event on. Probably means that one of our close tight-knit group of TOs, probably Austin, maybe somebody like him, is running it for us. And then there's also community partner events, which is what we're trying to accomplish there is tournaments that are already being run in our geographic regional area. We want to partner with those people and say, hey, you're already running a Madden tournament once a month. Let's talk. Let's get together. We'll assign some decathlon points to your Madden tournament. That'll create a little bit more high stakes for your tournament. It'll create a little more energy and excitement around your tournament. And it'll also bring more diversity and opportunity into the decathlon. So that's the other type of event is like these community partner events. And that's really, to me, what kind of makes the whole thing sing, is trying to give some unity and structure to the esports scene in our region without creating something that's too cumbersome and too difficult to get into.
Right.
So we have a question. Zabrozo says, how do teams register for the tournament?
Great question.
Specifically the ones that are already scheduled in June and July.
That's a great question. So I'm going to take two answers. One, just to be clear, the way you register for the decathlon is you go to ScionEsports.com. If you go to ScionEsports.com/decathlon, which, by the way, good trivia question. How do you spell decathlon?
It's not decathlon.
It's not decathlon. I thought it was. In fact, I made all this really cool, visual, graphic stuff about decathlon, and that's not how you spell it. It's decathlon. DECATHLON. ScionEsports.com/decathlon. That is where it's all there. You can go find it there. You can click. There's more information and a lot of details, and a quick Google form that you can sign up your team for on there. I even made one that's more detailed with all of your team members, and there's another one on there that's just quick sign up. It's like your team name, a contact information, your name, your team name, and a contact information, so that we know this is a hand raiser saying I want to have a decathlon team. The next part of that question is, how do you register for these events? So the answer to that is based on each individual TO. So if GoHex is running, some fighting games, and that's in the decathlon, you would need to communicate with GoHex for how to sign up for his tournament. If Lewis is running, an NBA 2K tournament, and that has decathlon points, you would need to talk to Lewis about how to sign up for that tournament.
Is the schedule of these events on Scion Esports' website?
The schedule is not on Scion Esports' website
But
yet.
it's going to be?
But it is going to be.
I
It's in the Discord right now.
I do have all the ones that I know about that people said, hey, I'm running this in the Discord with the TO that's running them, their Discord handle.
Yeah, okay.
And in answer to your question, ScionEsports.com is going to be a great place to get all this information. This is a developing, we're kind of letting you in on right before it starts right here. We're getting this all together. each tournament that is decathlon eligible, the sign-up information will absolutely be on scionesports.com. As early as possible, as soon as we get that information from the TOs, we'll get it on our website. And it may be a hyperlink where you can click and go to their start.gg page, or it may just be contact information for that TO. But we'll do as much as we can as far as helping you guys understand how to register for these tournaments. That was a great question.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the question, Zabrozo.
Zabrozo, is that? Do we know who Zabrozo is?
I do know who that
You know
is.
who that is?
Yeah,
we don't want to dox anybody. We want to
That's
say
Spunky.
who they really are.
Okay.
Oh, that's Spunky. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, good deal. So, okay, now until we get some more questions, I think that's all the logistics. But again, scionesports.com. A lot of what we're talking about here is there. You can read it in text form if you prefer that. So until we get more questions, Eric, you're going to keep an eye on the questions?
Yes.
Let's talk a
yet.
little bit about kind of how we ended up here. And Dustin, you started on that earlier, so I'm going to let you kind of take it and go first about where this whole idea came from, and then me and Eric will kind of add to it.
Yeah, it just seemed like a cool idea to get a bunch of people playing games that they're not super familiar with. Mostly because, I'm probably the most picky about what I'm going to play, but I'll play it until well after it's dead. Eric
Present company accepted. I was like, Jeremy's the most picky.
Jeremy's the most
Of
picky,
the
yeah.
founders, Jeremy's definitely the most
Yes.
picky.
And then Eric will play literally anything.
anything.
It's like,
I'll play anything.
is somebody else I know playing? I will play it.
Yeah.
I will learn the rules
What
enough
is
to play.
your mantra about
My
that?
mantra is if it has rules and you can win it, I'll play it.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't even
So-
matter. It could be.
So there are
But,
some.
but sometimes you not even if you can win it because you can't win Minecraft.
I'm gonna say
We
That is
grinded our
true.
brains out on Minecraft.
That is
Right.
true. Yeah.
So even those rules are flexible if it
Yeah.
includes like more
Right.
games.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And Corey is somewhere in the middle of he'll play it and be not super enthusiastic, but he'll you can strong arm into it. And I was just like, it would be great if you could have this thing where you don't really have to be a sweaty tryhard. Like you just go play a bunch of games and it's fun. So whenever I was maybe probably my 4th birthday, I did a mini basically esports tournament as my birthday party. We brought all the TVs into the living room
For
and
your
set them all
fourth
up.
birthday?
Fourth grade.
Fourth
Fourth grade.
grade.
However old you
Yeah.
are.
Ninth
I
or
may have
whatever,
misspoke, but yeah, whenever I was
ninth, that'd be 9 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we brought all the game systems into the living room, and I think we borrowed a couple so that we could have 4 or 5 back then, and everybody would rotate their stations. Man, that was so cool. And nobody played the same stuff, and you didn't necessarily record your scores. It was okay, it's time to rotate. I'm gonna play Mega Man now. You go play whatever's over there. And so it sort of was born from that camaraderie of just gathering around the TV and playing different games together. It's oh man, it'd be cool. I have buddies that play this game, and I don't want to play that game, but I'll go cheer for them, especially if I'm already there. It'd be really cool if while I was there, I could play this other game. And so it just sort of morphed from that. And so I sort of pitched the ideas around people at SciFACon, and everybody I talked to was like, "That sounds awesome. How do we make that happen?" Well, I don't know. Let me go talk to some other people and see what questions they have. Then I can sort of start fleshing this out.
So I think that was really, man, you went way back to your 9th birthday on this. The decathlon has been forming in Dustin's mind since his 9th birthday. But to me, the beauty of trying to accomplish all those things that he was trying to accomplish, while at the same time in my mind, it was how do we get people to engage in esports today? Esports has changed a lot, and competitive play has changed a lot, and gaming has changed a lot, especially since COVID. Stadium esports was really getting to be a big thing pre-COVID. After that, people are not so energized about that. It's difficult to really find out exactly what it is that people want to do. And so what I love about this idea is it gave us kind of a framework to go out into the sandbox and experiment with what type of esports gaming content people will engage with. And the more tournaments that get participated in, the more points will be scored in those tournaments by those teams that play those. And then so at the end of this, we'll have some really good data about what do people play, what will people show up and engage in, what will people have fun participating in, so that we can know what types of events to produce.
Right. It is super hard to produce a game and a tournament whenever you hear people go, "Oh, why don't y'all run this? We'd love to run that." We'll do that. We've heard the most consensus that people want to play this, and then you put up a sign-up sheet and nobody signs up. It's
The number of times we've heard, "Oh, just if you just play this game," everybody will come out.
The whole town's coming
The whole town's coming out. If you play this game, the whole town's coming out, and then no one is interested because like it's hard to get people to engage. So
And some of that for us might just be that, like, well, we traditionally run 2 games a year. We had the Thanksgiving Open and we do CypherCon, and so like maybe if it was hot in May, by the time Thanksgiving Open rolls around, it's not anymore. And so whenever you're limited to 2 time frames, with how fast things rise and fall in esports, that's also a logistical problem.
Okay, we have a question. How many people have to participate in a tournament for it to qualify for points? That's a good question.
That's a great question.
If you host a tournament, only 3 people wind up showing up for it. Are you going to score decathlon points? And then does the size of the tournament cause it to be weighted differently?
Yeah, those are excellent questions. The first one, I'm gonna kind of like make a judgment call here, and then y'all can opine on whether it's the right decision or not. But I'll explain my reasoning. I would say no. There's no such tournament that's too small. If we decide that tournament organizer is putting a good effort into a quality event, we're not just gonna award decathlon points to something that doesn't have a credible effort towards putting on a good event, right? But one of the goals here is to move away from high stakes, high investment types of tournaments to more like low stakes, like the lowest barriers to entry, the lowest cost, the lowest stakes to get people to engage at a low level. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to accomplish. So we want to be able to create some reward for if there's 8 or 10 people playing in a Tekken tournament. That's what we want. That's community, right?
So,
that's involvement.
So I would say like a minimum of 4, maybe.
We always say, usually we say 16.
6, yeah.
Right? 6, because 4 is you literally just you're hardly playing any game. So
right.
Historically, we don't produce events if we don't have 6 teams registered. So I would say,
but somebody's producing this in this situation. Somebody's already producing this tournament, and we're going to be from what I understand, we're going to be pre-approving these tournaments. So unless the tournament literally doesn't happen, once we've put it on the decathlon page, it's going to have points assigned to it, and people that go play in that, like, it's not the person that showed up's fault that nobody else showed up.
Right.
Yeah, we might also work with the tournament organizers. If there's only going to be 3 people show up, we might say, why don't we reschedule this event, see if we can get more people.
Yeah.
But essentially, there's no minimum people show up for the points to be awarded.
Yep.
And then does the size of the tournament cause to be weighted differently? So if you do wind up with a Smash tournament with 150 or 200 players, relative to the same Smash tournament that only had 20 players. I don't think we've discussed that.
We haven't discussed that exactly. Because
the points will be determined, the points that the event's going to get will be determined before the event happens. Right? So it's not going to be, it will be generally based on how big is that event, but not based on the exact number of participants of the event.
Yeah, it's all going to be objective. Like it's not going to be we decide at the last second to provide, it's not who's
well. No, it's very subjective. We're just going to decide. But we're going to have established ahead of time how many.
I misspoke.
We're just going to decide.
We're going to create the rules ahead of time. And we have a big complex spreadsheet where you tweak the numbers. But what it's going to be is it's going to take into account the franchise that you're playing, whether it's online or live, whether it's first party or community, whether it's what we call a major event or a major or community, so the size of the event. But that's going to be determined in advance. So if somebody says I'm spending $20,000 to put on this tournament and it's going to have a $10,000 prize pool and we're renting whatever, then we would say that's a major event and it's going to have the check box for major event, which means it's going to be prize in the decathlon as that's a major.
So really it depends on what is the TO what information do we get from the TO is going to determine the points that event is getting way more than anything else. So if the TO is determined that this is going to be a good event, a lot of people are going to show up, we're going to award that one probably a lot of points off the bat, and then over time we may decide, okay, this game's franchises we're getting more and more people playing this. Maybe at some point we tweak the ratio on that one and say, okay, well, these tournaments are getting bigger. We'll assign the next one more points as well. It'll be a very fluid thing, but it'll always be announced beforehand. We're not going to gerrymander numbers after the fact.
Yeah, and we have pretty good experience with event planning to know, like, okay, this checks all the right boxes to be a huge investment. It's going to be a big event. We're going to establish, I think, how many, were you trying to break it down into splits or seasons? Like 3 or 4 seasons?
Yeah, so initially I had, I think, 5 stages with a major in between each one. And I think now that we've pushed it back, because we were going to start earlier, I think it's going to be 4, or back down to 4. And then with a pretty sizable break around the holidays. Just realistically, probably nobody's going to be playing around Christmas, New Year's.
Hey, so we got Gruber McEvil, very, very, very helpfully linked in the chat the direct link to the most recent information on ScionEsports.com, the blog entry that has the most recent information. Is Potion? Is that Potion Cell?
That's right.
That is Potion Cell.
Yeah. Okay, so
who's maybe going to relapse into WoW, allegedly.
Yeah.
Jeremy's trying to get him relapsed back into WoW.
Dude, it is not. He doesn't take much of a push.
Yeah.
Like if Jeremy could log into WoW while Potion was standing there, it would be like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they only see each other at work, and that's gonna probably cause some issues.
Probably, yeah. Probably need to not do that.
If somebody wanted to do,
Potion says he's holding on tight. I think he means to not playing, but he'll give. He'll give in.
You know what? If you sponsor his first month, he'll play.
No, I think he's already subbed because he mentioned that he logged in the other day.
Oh god.
if somebody wanted to create a rule set for WoW Arena, 3v3 Arena or whatever, we probably could include it in the Decathlon.
I mean, PvP in WoW is definitely a thing. So they do 3v3 and they do also bigger teams, but the big one I think is probably PvP 3v3.
I think the important thing there is if you're willing to run it and submit your data, it can be part of the season.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole idea.
In WoW, they also do dungeon running, speed runs of dungeons that you can do as a team as well. If somebody wanted to host that, I think we could get some players.
I mean, like
Potion Seller says he is definitely already subbed. Yeah.
I mean, like we're running an Among Us tournament as one of the games. So like, if you can make rules for it, you can run a tournament.
Yeah.
And if there is a game out there, you can win it. And that's just, it's just a matter of how much legwork the community wants to do. I don't have the bandwidth to run all these tournaments. I would love to run every tournament.
Right. That's partnering with these community organizers is one of the things that is really kind of one of the key features of this experiment we're doing. So one of the other things that we didn't really talk about that much is the end goal here. There's a few different end goals, but one of the big ones is we want to know what to do at SciFicon next year. That was one of the big driving factors. That's our biggest event of the year. If you're not familiar with it, we spend I'm not going to say this.
Too much money.
Yeah, a lot.
We spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of Lake Charles Toyota's money on SciFicon every year. And it's, like I said, it's this high stakes, fear, what if we put on a game and then no one plays it? We've invested a lot. And not only did we invest a lot and no one participated, but also we've created this event that no one's playing in, so the people at SciFicon are not really enjoying it. So we said, how can we prevent that? How can we prevent a situation where we produce something at SciFicon that no one wants to play? Right? That's not good for anybody. We want to create content, really engaging, really enjoyable content for SciFicon, and so this is one of the ways that we come up with to do that. Because at the end of the decathlon, even if we don't get 20 or 30 teams playing in it, if we get 100 people, 10 teams playing, then we're going to know what those 10 teams enjoy doing and what those 10 teams will get really serious about when it comes time for, hey, let's really get serious. Let's go get competitive and let's get our jerseys and go make this the real deal next year. You don't have to have jerseys. I was just saying if you want to get serious.
One of the things that it just hit me is, we talked about doing the 10 teams at SciFicon, or 10 games at SciFicon, and having the summit and letting them decide. You invite all the team captains, you let them decide, sort of like a fantasy draft of what games we're going to play at SciFicon was one of the ideas. And it just hit me just now, the logistical challenge of we have to find people and we have to run all these games at SciFicon in a 2-day spread.
It'll be fine.
And it will be. We'll figure it out. It's just, that is a lot more logistics than I didn't have the forethought for that.
It'll be fine.
I think just hit me.
Especially if we don't try to cram everything into Saturday. We've been running games a long time. That's the least. Okay, so we've never, ever, ever had a problem running events. We've always, always, always had a problem getting people to sign up. So if the one happens, the other will fall in place.
It's we've been trying to do Scion Esports. We've been trying to do esports if you build it, they will come esports. Right. So this is more if they come, we will build it. Yes. It's like what Eric is saying. It's we can run the tournament. We just have always struggled to get the players. And then it's like the players are out there saying, why don't y'all do this? Why don't y'all do that? Why don't y'all do this? But it's just this communication breakdown of we try to produce an event for players. Players either don't know about it or aren't interested in it or whatever reason we're not striking the right chord. So this is more like if they will come, then we will build it. We'll put on the event.
So Zabrozo says, are there going to be multiple tournaments hosted at the same time, or are you going to limit, or will there be one tournament per week? We're going to have to just work with the TOs to make sure there's a good schedule.
So I think there absolutely will be tournaments at the same time, and that is somewhat by design or ideal, because at CypherCon we have discussed there will be multiple tournaments going on at the same time, which is part of the strategy of having a well-balanced team, because you can't just have a couple ringers and know that they're going to be here.
Yeah, so you may have to split your team and go to 2 different tournaments at the same.
It's not going to be designed where your whole team is playing at the same time and you don't get to watch your friend play. But there will be some overlap where, okay, we're starting Mario Kart at 1, and this other game is going to be at 12:30. So your Mario Kart guy probably shouldn't be on this team, or else you're going to be playing a man down halfway through, Some of that is by design to make a more well-balanced team and have to make some hard decisions about who's going to play what and putting your aces in your places. A lot of it is going to be about coaching as much as gameplay.
Yeah, the meta game is going to be part of the game.
Right.
Picking the right person to go play in the right tournament. And so I think in the technical answer to Zabrozo's question is there might be some overlap. We're not going to avoid it. We're going to err on the side of more content, even if that means sometimes it overlaps.
Right.
We're not going to obviously go try to schedule tournaments at the same time. That's dumb.
But in the time crunch of the decathlon, the actual decathlon, that will be an inevitability. But during the season, currently all the TOs that have games scheduled picked days that worked with them so that nobody's really getting overworked. But as we pick up more community events, there very well likely will be some overlap.
Yep. All right, so I want to continue to turn this decathlon conversation into what is happening in the esports world. I feel like this is kind of our effort to explore and connect with what esports currently is. So let me turn that into a question that y'all can kind of answer. What do you think we're going to learn, or what do you think we would like to learn about esports in 2025 and 2026 from this?
I think it would be good to learn, if you organize events that are online, do people play in them? Even local people. We've always tried to have local events, and we've always tried to have LAN events because we figure, get people socially, get them out, get them involved. But we've never really investigated if you host online events, will locals play in them? That's something we could potentially learn. Do people still just want to play from their mom's basement, even if they?
What if they have their own basement?
Well, the proverbial mom's basement. Like, the question is, do local people still just want to sit at their own computer and play their own games, and they don't want to come out? They want to play from there, and if they do, that's okay. The point is, if they do, that's okay. Let's try to figure it out. By the same token, the other question is that I would like to know, can we answer, is can you regularly get small groups of people out to play? So, like, if we're not going to try to do 200 people to play Halo and it's going to cost us $50,000 like we did for Scion 10, but can you get 4 or 5 or 6 teams together to play? If you're not trying to have these high-stakes events, can you get 10 or 12 Smash players, or 4 or 5 Halo teams, or 3 or 4 Marvel Rivals teams to play each other?
So
will that work?
Yeah.
I don't know. And they're like, will anybody, I'm interested to know, will anybody stay focused on anything for almost a year to continue engaging with anything for a year? Like, I know I will, or I do, but will anybody else?
Yeah.
Like, you start this thing, and if you have does it build momentum, or does it just people get distracted and get off it?
Well, and I think that is going to depend a lot. In this particular case, I think you're going to have the peer pressure of the people on your team going, "You're our so-and-so player.
Awesome.
You need to go and play this." Like, it's a commitment once a week. Just go do it. It's like going to the grocery store, whatever. I don't care if this is your chore now. I don't want it to be a chore for people, but I think some of the pressure of your buddies razzing you for letting the team down is healthy for competitive spirit.
Yeah. Dawson?
And the other thing is just what are people in Lake Charles and Calcasieu Parish and really 50-mile radius, say? Probably Beaumont to
Well,
Lafayette.
really, the radius is how far would you theoretically be willing to travel for CypherCon?
So realistically, maybe you say Houston and Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
In between Houston
I mean,
and
I
Baton
think
Rouge.
people would come from Dallas.
I mean, we had a bunch of people come from NOLA Flight had sent 2 whole
NOLA
teams.
Flight
That's
sent-
true. Okay, so
yeah.
let's say southeast. Let's say
200 miles.
Louisiana.
One tank of gas.
Well, okay, whatever. It's
250
not.
miles.
It's not.
Yeah.
The specifics of it are not exact. But
Yeah.
say Louisiana and Southeast Texas. What is everybody playing?
Right.
Because like I'm only playing WoW, but what is everybody else playing? I may be fixing to be playing Expedition 33, which is apparently a really good game. I don't know if anybody in the chat has played Expedition 33, but
I think Chubb was telling
it's
me that he's been
apparently
playing
the
that.
new it's apparently like just taking over Baldur's Gate. Well, Baldur's Gate was like the best game ever to be made, and now this is apparently even better. Let's see.
It's like turn-based D20 type stuff.
It's turn-based with a little bit of
Real-time
turn-based
decisions.
with some real-time blocking or
Yeah.
something like that. But
Yeah, Chubb
it's
was just telling
it's an
me about that.
RPG. It's an RPG. The point is, what's everybody playing?
Yeah.
You know, how do we find out what's everybody playing? Because we've not had luck with polls. Because we'll do a poll, and the game that wins the poll will have nobody sign up for it at CypherCon. You know, or those kind of things. You know.
I mean, I think okay. Here's another important thing that we did not discuss yet. If you're in the decathlon and you get enough points, we're paying for you to go to CypherCon. So that's always been a big barrier for CypherCon people. Is like, well, I don't want to pay $60 to get it. You don't have to. Just play in the decathlon and do well and show up enough times. Like, we'll pay for you to go. That's an easy piece of the puzzle off the table for you.
Anything you can learn from this?
I think Eric hit on a lot of the topics that are poignant, but some of that I think is from my experience. Like, can you get 4 teams of people every week to go do something? I think so. If they're small tournaments that somebody is doing, Smash Weeklies have been a thing. Scion Fight Club has been a thing. Laffy Smash does its thing every week. Go Hex does his throw hands. Holodeck has something every week. All those places have tournaments that happen every week. So I think the answer is yes. I think maybe we have just always wanted to bite off more than we could chew, which is to say we throw, like you said, we build it hoping that will come. Well, we don't. The amount of people that are going to come is probably a fixed number, so we just need to get those same people to come out more often.
Yeah, I think that's what you said is about like biting off more than we can chew. Part of that is, like Eric said, it's not that we can't chew that much.
Right. The bite doesn't exist.
That's not
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think the real challenge is like we have no skin in the game on we want to make League of Legends a successful esport, or we want to make
That was
Halo,
honestly our coolest
Except Halo.
tournament.
right?
Except
Well,
Halo. We
Halo,
wanna make
and we
Halo.
are very committed to
Yeah.
Halo. League of Legends was probably our best event, even though it was a near disaster. One of the episodes that I want to do in this podcast is
Esports
esports
disasters.
disasters. I want to just tell stories about disasters. But we don't have any. We don't have a dog in the hunt for what game it is. We want to the tagline for Scion Esports is and has always been giving a generation of gamers what they want. Games. Like we want to do what you want. We want to produce what you want. And we're trying to find out right now, what does that mean? What do today's gamers want? At one point it seemed like in the mid-teens it was this stadium esports. Like you want this high energy, basketball, baseball, football experience, but an esport. You're playing a video game. And is that still what people want? I don't know. That's kind of what we were raising people, is that stadium esports experience. But one of the things that we're trying to discover now as Scion Esports evolves is, what do the gamers want? What do we need to give the gamers? And is it that? And if it is, we will. If it's not that, it'll be something else.
Fireside Lounge.
If it's
Fireside Lounge. That's what they want now.
Fireside Lounge?
Yeah.
Like from
Hearthstone?
Hearthstone?
Yeah.
If what gamers want is really the social aspect comes from being online, in your pajamas, in your room, comfortable on your headset with your buddies, if that's what people want, like Eric was saying, online is where it's at. Hey,
I think that depends on the type of gamer you are, because there is a certain power fluctuation that happens from being in your room where you are the master of your own domain and you can say whatever you want to no consequence, and you can just flame people and just like let out all of your aggression that you've had all day, for better or worse. Like you talk smack in a playful way, or you're actually aggressive. Both exist. And doing that from the comfort of your own home is very stress relieving, and for the person doing it. And people are very comfortable with that. And then there's other people that like the competitive nature of feeling the energy of the room. And that's just two different types of gamers. And I don't know that those two types of gamers exist in the same headspace.
Yeah.
So the question is, which one is there more of?
Yeah, and can you engage with both in different ways? Like we even kind of joked, sort of seriously, but half not seriously, about just changing the name to Scion Entertainment. Like one of the things that we focused on at CypherCon is not so much creating, you have to be playing competitively to enjoy this, but more leaning towards, this is entertainment that gamers enjoy.
Right. That's
And
another strategy behind having the decathlon teams be not necessarily games that you are the best at, and having a well-balanced team, and having to pick at certain points who you're putting places.
Or even that are established esports.
Right. Like Among Us.
Yeah, like Among
So,
Us. Yeah.
yeah, and one of the big pushes that I'm going to try and figure out is getting with Spidey Team about I need to find out what they've rebranded to.
Yeah,
But-
they're changing their brand, right?
Yeah, so Spider Guy I want him to host a Rock Band tournament on Friday night. I guess one of the things we could talk about is the idea that I've been kicking around of having the retro relay on Friday night for sort of like Hunger Games style bonuses to the tournament.
Anything else? to add
No,
to the
you
decathlon?
look exhausted. It is a sauna in here.
Dude, well, it is. Yeah, I was thinking let's take a quick intermission, turn the air conditioner back on.
Yeah,
And then
Eric's probably comfortable.
I'm totally comfortable.
Eric is like the resident. He's just like always wanting there to be a heat wave. How many people do we have watching? We got 5.
How do you tell?
5 watching on Twitch, according to the.
You listen to Corey. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we will be back in like 30 seconds, or maybe like 2 minutes. Probably about 2 minutes. Let's see what this sign says.
Very aggressive bomb.
So we're gonna get back into this. Our main reason for doing this, we've talked about this. Our main reason to do this is for fun. We want to do it for fun.
Totally.
On game night or whatever. We want to get together and have fun. So if it's not fun, we're not gonna do it. But I wanted to just kind of brainstorm for just a minute about what we want to be thinking about our subsequent episodes being over the next few months. The first one that I'm serious about, I wasn't joking. I want to do tales from the esports PTSD.
Great disasters of
archives,
esports.
the
There's-
disasters of esports.
There's only 2 disastrous moments that I can think of.
Esports disasters.
That I don't. Nobody wants to hear us sing. That
a
is an
later
esports.
episode. A later episode.
Yeah, we
Not
don't have
this
to do that.
episode.
We don't
We
have
can't.
to do
We
that
can't blow.
first.
We can't blow them all at this.
But there
Well,
are-
that's what I'm saying. I only have 2. That's
Yeah.
not going to be very much
We'll
talking
let
for
you
me.
Tell those 2, and then I'm sure we'll have more.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. That's we're gonna do an episode on esports disasters. What else y'all want to go back? Anything? The other thing is our previous season, the 1-hour format. We did kind of have to like move through stuff pretty quick, especially in the earlier episodes when we were trying to hit all of our different little segments. So, is there anything you want to go back and revisit from last season?
I don't know that I necessarily need to go back and revisit it, but like if you went back to the retro one or the D&D one, me and Eric could talk
Yep.
for 4 hours
I
about
agree.
that. Just
Yeah.
incessantly.
Yeah, we may well
So-
Yeah, the old stuff and then the D20 stuff for sure. You know, I like the technical stuff. I like answering questions about the tech stuff and trivia and stuff like that. Everybody likes trivia. But the other thing
I
is kind
hate
of like
trivia.
that's true. I like trivia because I'm always destroy Dustin at it. But
Okay, your brother writes the questions.
what I was gonna say is unrelated to that.
It's hard to write trivia questions. Y'all.
What I was gonna say is we'll talk about whatever people want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of like giving gamers games. Well,
I mean,
I'll talk about-
obviously, every month we'll do an update on decathlon scores
Yeah.
or whatever that we've seen. Presumably, we're going to have some data.
But I would say in general,
if not,
though,
this episode is going to be aged like milk. But
we're getting to be kind of like old, you know, archives of knowledge, of esports knowledge, and I think our video game knowledge, especially video game knowledge, and I think we'll talk about anything people want us to talk about.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to do an episode about. We kind of talked about this about video game music, a music-themed episode.
yeah, I thought y'all did that one with Martindale.
It never came together. We were going to get Justin Martindale
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
We were also going to get Professor Shy Guy on.
Yeah.
But it never came together. That was right about when we ended up suspending the season.
I was gonna wear a Professor Shy Guy shirt to the podcast tonight, but it was a little bit too tight.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, too tight for me. Yeah.
Was it a child's large?
No, it was a small, but I'd gotten it when I got it from him. I knew it was going to be very, very small, and I was like, I'll wear it if it's too tight. Then Katie can wear it. So
I also think I
with this old faithful
I
anyway.
have all the good ideas. Like, you don't have any good ideas.
Well, I'm not here for
I
my
also
ideas.
think it
I'm
would
here
be
because I
cool
know
to do an
things and fix
episode
things.
about, like, what? I'm sorry.
I'm here because I know things and I fix things and answer questions. I don't have all the.
That's a shirt, isn't it? I drink and I fix things or something like that.
Uh,
Or something.
Something to that effect.
I
Yeah.
drink and I know things or something
Yeah.
like that. Or maybe that's just the meme. That's the meme template. I drink and I do it. I think it would be cool to do an episode on like Gen 1 LAN party esports, like the first time people
Like-
started
like
bringing their
the-
PCs over or bringing their consoles
Oh,
over.
you don't mean like the Space Invader tournament, the literal first esport
No,
tournament.
I mean like when LAN parties in the early or mid '90s, when like LAN parties, probably would have been mid '90s, late '90s.
So the first LAN parties that I went
Like
to
when-
were
when-
Quake 1
I was
over
gonna
at
say
Magnes.
Quake, Warcraft, eventually Starcraft, Team Fortress.
Yeah, and you know, event like System Link, where you plug in a cable onto two CRT TVs or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. I think that would be a fun thing to talk about. You know, another thing that would be fun. So that's some pretty good topics. So I think we got some good topics, and we'll do them once per month. And if anybody in the chat has any thoughts, like Eric said, we'll talk about anything. So okay. I have a trivia intro. Yeah.
I hear
There it
some
is.
music. I kind of love that my beard has gotten so big that you can't see my mouth moving whenever I talk.
Oh, we don't have a Wheel of Destiny though. Do
We don't.
It's
No.
gonna
We
be-
okay.
that's fine.
So we don't have. Okay. Oh. There we go. Sorry about that. So my intro is not quite perfect. So normally,
whoa.
normally the way we do trivia is we have this really sweet spinning wheel of destiny that, you know, it tells us what topic we're going to do. We don't really have that for today because I have a little bit of a different plan for today. What we're going to do, kind of actually going back to that music theme, we're going to do Name That Tune with classic video game soundtracks off of my phone. So we debated whether
Are
or
they all
not
going to
we
be
were
up from
going to...
SNES? Because Eric's going to destroy me if that's the case.
Yes.
Okay, so you remember,
I don't
didn't
know.
own an SNES.
No, I told
They're not all, though.
Corey I'm gonna be able to identify them all, but I mean I'm gonna recognize them all, but not be able to identify them. I think. Is what's gonna
Okay,
happen,
so
'cause
do
they're all gonna
y'all
blend
want me
together in
to?
the-
I have them all on my phone. Just y'all go ahead and decide. Do you want me to just click random, or do you want me to pick ones that I think will be interesting? Like, do you want
I
to
just click random.
Okay,
I don't
we'll just
care.
go full random. Now they're not all SNES. So we debated whether or not we were going to have a buzz-in system where you were going to, like, you know, grab some thing and say it's my turn, and then the other person gets a chance to steal if you miss it. Eric and Dustin said, nope, Wild Wild West, shout out the answer.
Well, the more
Right?
important thing was we only had a Dragon Ball to grab, and I was really concerned about
Is
it
that the
going through
score?
this
Is
monitor.
the score gonna go on
The
there?
score's going to go on here. Yes, this is going to be the score, and we're gonna. We have. I don't know if we have anybody in the Discord, but we always do E for Eric, and then G for Grizz,
There are a handful of people watching. There's just 5
and then
people
D
watching.
for the Discord. So this will be the scoreboard.
That would have
This
to
is
be
the official
Discord would have to
scoreboard.
be if we don't get it.
If y'all don't get it, the Discord can try to get.
But
the
if we
steal.
don't get it, and the Discord gets a shot, and they get it right, they need to get like 10 times as many points
Yeah,
as we
okay.
get.
Yeah, because they had to wait.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna do this, and I'm gonna go full random here just by clicking shuffle. So, again, it's only okay. You have to shout out the answer, and it's only based on to my satisfaction whether
you
you
know
gave
it or
the
not.
correct
Okay,
answer.
all right.
Now, okay, I think points for the title of the game that it came from, 1 point.
Then the name of the
Another
theme.
point for the name of the track or sufficient
The
to my
scene that it
satisfaction
was
the scene
in.
that it was in for the
Yeah,
game.
okay.
Like for
And
example,
once you say something, you don't get to guess again.
Right, you don't get to keep
It's
guessing,
not
yeah.
spamming out guesses.
yeah. So like for example, if it was like the Magitech facility from Final Fantasy VI, I don't know what that track is actually called, but if you said Magitech facility, we would say that's good enough.
I don't
right?
even know what that sounds like.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Chrono Trigger.
Millennium Fair?
Oh,
Yeah.
destroyed. So Eric gets Chrono
Yeah,
Trigger.
he said Millennium Fair though. so
Dustin
one- Yeah.
pulled out
Yeah.
of his no Super Nintendo
Yeah.
history Millennial Fair. So Eric gets 1 point for Chrono Trigger. Grizz gets 1 point for Millennial Fair.
Yep. That's definitely Nintendo.
Man, I feel like I just played this game.
Um,
That's some sort of battle music. I'm gonna go ahead and
you want to take a guess?
Final Fantasy 1 battle music.
I don't
No.
think it's Final Fantasy 1. Let's go with Contra.
Contra's a good guess. Does anybody in the
Is it
Discord know it?
Wait, is it? Oh. If nobody else guesses, I have one more guess.
Can they hear it? Ask them
don't
if they
know.
can hear it.
Well, we don't have to ask.
It's
them.
Kid Icarus, isn't it?
Nope, it's not Kid Icarus.
Oh, okay. What is it?
That one is Metroid Escape
Oh.
from Zebes.
Oh
Oh,
wow,
Zebes,
Metroid
Zebes,
2.
Zebes,
I think it's
Zebes.
Metroid 2.
Okay. I know that I
No
have
points.
heard that.
No points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you know why I recognize that?
What?
From Smash.
Oh, you think?
Oh, yeah,
there's
from the
there's
map-
an
from the
updated
map,
version
yeah,
of it in
yeah.
Smash. Yeah, okay. I should have gotten that.
Okay, y'all gotta be ready for this one.
All right.
Toe
Jam
Jam
and
and
Roll. Opening theme.
That was Grizz got that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and okay, does it always play that song when you load the game?
Yes.
Okay, so Grizz gets 2 points.
There's about, I think there's
like
7
5 or 6 themes
tracks,
that-
and
yeah.
it rotates through the levels, but
Yeah.
that's always the
That's
one that
always
plays at
the
end.
one that plays. Yeah. All right. Here we go. You ready for the next one?
Yep. GoldenEye. Pause music.
Yeah. Eric got that one. That's not Super Nintendo.
No.
No, that's I didn't have one of those
Nintendo
either. I didn't have a
You didn't have a
Here,
64.
wait, you gotta let go.
Now, I'm familiar
Slaps.
enough with
It slaps.
James
This was
Bond
so hard.
that I would have eventually got that,
Yeah,
but
this one is legendary for the slap.
I don't know that I've ever played GoldenEye not player versus player.
Yeah. That's going to be a good topic of discussion for the first generation of LAN party type atmosphere. I don't mean I mean competitive, just like getting together and playing multiplayer games. You know. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yep.
This is a tight game. Let's see where. Oh,
Yeah,
this
3
way.
to 3.
3 to 3.
You have the wrong side.
Where's that camera?
Man, you're
There
really
it is.
struggling with this.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Here we go. You ready?
Yep. Oh, I know that I've never heard this.
I know it. That is Soul Blazer,
Oh, okay.
and I'm gonna go with. It's like there's like a water level. It's like a water level.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you points for the water level because if it was not a Super Nintendo game and Dustin had a fair shot at it, I would have given you points for water level.
Yeah.
Because he was already out of the game.
Am I supposed to know the name of the water continent or whatever?
Well, to get points,
It's fine. It's Soul Blazer.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's good enough. I got the 1 point.
yeah. All right.
Super Mario Bros. 1.
Eric got
Super
that
Mario
one.
Bros.
All right.
Yeah.
Final
that's the
Fantasy. Final
part-
Fantasy
3. That's the
it
save
could be
music, right?
anything. That's a Final Fantasy Crystal theme is what it's called.
Oh yeah, that is the crystal.
Well, okay,
theme.
we'll just wait. You may learn more.
You heard the pause music, the menu going in your head. Are you sure it changes?
It might not. Some
No,
of them do.
It's not changing because it's Final Fantasy 2 US. I think that's Final Fantasy 2
Yeah,
US.
that is correct.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did change.
Yeah, it did. So when
That's
it
your
switched,
logic. That's fun to your logic.
because goes forever on Final Fantasy 2. When it switched to that would have made me think it is the Final Fantasy 3 save screen music, but
Yeah.
or Final Fantasy 6. But I got it. That's called the Crystal theme, though, on
Yeah.
basically every game.
Yep. Man, Dustin, I'm sorry. I'm
No, that's fine.
Are you trying to cater something specifically to Dustin's
No,
tastes?
just hit random.
No, I'm trying to find not just 3 Super Nintendos in a row.
Yeah.
Apparently, I had like almost all Super Nintendo. I only really liked Super Nintendo.
Sonic the Hedgehog,
Yeah.
Emerald. No, Green Hill Zone.
Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
Did
Is that what it is? He got them both.
What did you say?
Sonic the Hedgehog, Green Hill Zone.
First he said Emerald.
Yeah.
What did you say?
You can give him the point.
He said Green
Okay.
Hill Zone also.
What was it? Green Hill?
Yeah.
I don't.
That's kind of quiet.
Is this gonna?
Is there
pick
more
up?
coming or?
Nope. I don't think.
Would you guess this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play a lot more of this than y'all do.
Turn it up.
It won't go up anymore.
There's nothing you play more than me. But since you said that, it's got to be Minecraft.
Yes, that is Minecraft. No guys from the Discord got that. No.
Minecraft. That is
Kefka's
Final Fantasy
theme? Final
6.
Fantasy
No,
6?
yeah, okay. It's Final Fantasy 6. That is the opening screen with the thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is
you're right.
exactly
Yeah,
what it is.
Kefka's. What is that?
Okay, no, I know what that is. That is Fantasy
should know
Star
that.
3.
No.
God.
I don't
Fantasy
think-
Star.
I don't think it is. It doesn't say actually.
That's not one of the Fantasy
It
Stars?
says VG Cover Junkies, but I think I know what it is. It's from Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
That's not Fantasy Star?
Nope.
No, I recognize this. Is this Gunstar Heroes?
Yes.
Okay, Gunstar
Yeah.
Heroes. Yeah, that's
It's,
similar.
It's one of the boss battles,
Yeah, no,
but I
that's-
don't remember
you're
which
right.
one. Is
Gun-
this the mine tunnel one?
No, you're right.
It's called Seven Forces theme.
Oh yeah, that's when. Okay, that's whenever you fight all the bosses at once at the
Is
end of
it?
the game. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I feel like there's some stuff that sounds like that in Fantasy Star. Star Fox. The first one for Super Nintendo, Star Fox 1.
Yes, but you don't know what track.
I've played
All right,
zero
no
Star
points.
Fox.
Well, you got a point for Star Fox.
Yeah.
That's Corneria.
Yeah. Blah 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 blah
Stay on target.
blah 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 blah.
Is this Ayla's theme from Chrono
Nope,
Trigger?
that is Red 13, Final Fantasy 7.
Close.
Cosmo Canyon.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not the same thing.
not the same.
You cannot give me points.
I don't know that I've ever played Final Fantasy 7 either.
Final Fantasy 7, Cosmo Canyon. I could tell the two apart if they were
Yeah.
back to back.
Shining Force
Yeah.
1.
Nope.
No, oh, is it 2?
Shining Force 2.
That's battle music from Final Fantasy 6 or 2.
No, not 6. It's not 6.
Are you sure that's not Dancing Mad?
It's nope.
They have like 4 battle themes.
Okay, it's Final Fantasy 2. I think that's when you're. Is it Final Fantasy 2
Yes.
Okay.
or Final Fantasy 4?
Here's the score. Here you go. How many more of those do you want to do?
A bunch.
A bunch. Okay.
Tetris.
Yep. Nintendo or Game Boy?
Yeah.
Game Boy sounds like.
Yeah, that's. I don't. It must be a Game Boy, right? The
Yeah.
original Tetris was for Game Boy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Chrono Trigger. That is. God, that's where you come out of the closet in the little house. I don't know what it's called.
I think it's
though.
just the town theme for the first
2000
town.
AD or whatever it is.
The 1000 AD. What's the name of the town?
I don't know.
Are we on the right track?
Yeah, when you wake up. It's what's playing when you wake up
Yeah.
in the morning. I think.
Yeah, I know how to play that on bass actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What do they call it the name of the town? Or
That
what?
one. That track was called "Peaceful Days."
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Dustin got that one.
Yeah.
One of the few Super Nintendo games that I did play.
Chrono Trigger, Shala's theme.
Ooh.
Dude, that was fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on that one. Uh-oh, I'm out.
Oh. I wouldn't have gotten what theme that was.
Yeah.
I might have gotten that was Chrono Trigger. I've only ever played through Chrono Trigger once, and it was like within the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh, wait, this is a good one.
Well, no, that's not true.
They've had a
8
bunch
years.
of glitchy, crummy re-releases of it that turned out to be really glitchy and problematic.
Oh, that is ActRaiser, and that
Oh,
was the
God,
town
that was a
music.
tie of ties, right?
We go both got points.
Well, he got is town
It's the
music
town
close
music,
enough
yeah.
to?
it's the first town.
Yeah.
Right?
What's the name of the first town?
Oh, I don't remember. Master, please give us the blessing of
The
wheat.
first town is called.
This is really my favorite part of the game, anyway. Is
Yeah.
this. I don't actually
I
care
can't
about
think
the
of it.
rest
The second,
of the
the
platformer
second
section.
town is called like Blood something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they start out the lake is.
Yeah.
is
I want to say the
blood.
first town starts with an F.
For some reason, all I can think of is Onette and Tucson and
Yeah,
three and
Forsyth.
Forsyth. Yeah.
That is Super Mario World.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this in a minute. You know, no guesses. Okay.
Nah.
Are we gonna get this one? Well, can I get this one?
I don't know that
It's
I
a
would
deep
have.
cut.
I'm not convinced that I know this.
I've heard it.
What is this? I give up. I
Yeah,
can
let's
see
not
it.
waste too much time.
It is called Danger from Seeking Tetsu 2, which is
Secret
of
Man?
Mana.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have 0 time on that. I would not have gotten that.
Final Fantasy 2 overworld music.
That sounds right.
Yep. That's not what it was on when I pressed play. All right, that's all I have. That's not that's it. That's the whole entire
Okay.
playlist. And it was mostly Super Nintendo.
I feel good about my performance given the amount of games that I literally hadn't even played.
Yeah, I mean you got 9 points, and well,
Yeah.
you got
Man, you're struggling with that where to hold the thing, huh?
you got. It's hard.
you could go to the front camera and just hold it
pay
up.
attention where the camera's at. It's right there. No, dude. The
Oh, yeah,
camera's
like
right
this.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the final score. To Grizz's credit, he never owned a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo 64, and like 2/3 of this playlist was Super Nintendo. So I'm gonna say that's a pretty good showing from Grizz.
Yeah.
So all right, any
I was just playing Overwatch down a player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had a lever.
I had a lever at
You
2
had a
minutes.
lever, yeah. All right. So, any closing thoughts, boys?
I don't have any closing thoughts.
What is your Dungeons and Dragons? Y'all play Dungeons and Dragons every other week?
We have one more session. We just finished our campaign first. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 30 years and finished my first campaign ever.
Nice.
So we have one more one shot
Like
that
you
we're
stuck
doing as
with
a
one start to
as a-
finish for the first time ever,
Yeah.
or you've got one been going for 30 years and it's
that
just fixing
started
to finish?
with one that start to finish.
Okay.
So it started right about the time we started the Founders Podcast last year, and we just finished 2 weeks ago. Did our last mission.
What character are you making, or did you make?
Played a character called Canticus Singvogel. He was a cleric of Lathander, but then his father forced him into the clergy. All he really wanted to do was be a bard. Jessica told me she was never running a campaign with a bard ever again. So like, that's fine. I'll play a cleric who
Yeah.
just really wants to be one.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that guy.
So he was a terrible human being.
Yep. All right. So it's been fun. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. If you're checking us out on Spotify or iHeart or YouTube or wherever later, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always, thank you guys for supporting Lake Charles Toyota, because Lake Charles Toyota is what pays for Scion Esports. And so if you spend your money with Lake Charles Toyota can spend its money on Scion Esports and do cool things like this podcast and all the other video game events that we do. So signing off for Grizz.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. For Face Tank. All right. Let's see if my closing out the show transition functions. Here we go.